Hi there everybody, afternoon on this bank holiday weekend. Hope everybody's enjoying it and staying safe and not being in too much sun. It's not that good for you. I must admit I'm not one for sitting in it. I like to sort of be out and about, but it's nice to look at. But yeah, I'm happy indoors today. So what am I doing? Prepping for the shows tomorrow, of course. And of course, I had a bit of a lie-in after an early get-up yesterday going to Redditch. But for now, we're on to our Sanntangle Flower Quilt. And it's our third video of this lovely little quilt here. So let's have a look what we're going to be doing so far. I've had a look on the back page. And what I'm doing, I'm ticking them off as I go. I like to do that because it just makes me, one, feel like I've accomplished something. And two, I don't forget them and redo them. So I'm working along the top of them. So today I'm going to be doing this one here. And see how we feel. I might even actually come down and do this one here because they're pretty quick to do. So not too much of a problem. So if we're ready, we can make a start. So I'm going to start first of all on my fabric. Now, I'm not interfacing this as we know, but I am when I'm drawing using two, maybe or a few actually sort of pieces to go on top. Just means that it's a little bit easy to draw on. Everybody's different with this, so don't think you've got to do the same as me. It's all about how you feel and be comfortable when you draw. Two things I've got with me today. I've got my regular fine liner pen. There we go, my 03. And I've got a Frixion pen just in case. This is almost like having a pencil and a rubber. So if you're not sure, draw it with this. You can then go over it with your fine liner afterwards. And then this will simply just iron away. But of course, always check that with your fabric. I am working on the panel first, or the little side piece. But I'm also doing a second version on a block that I've already done. Because I'm going to double up with my panels. Instead of doing 20, I'm going to do 40. So I'm going to use the flowers and do them twice. So without further ado then, let's have a little look at this one. All right, starts life as a little swirl. A really nice one to do. And as we work our way along, it gets a bit bigger. We've got these little bumps on the swirl. And then here, look, we've got some little sort of leaf shapes. And it's done in a sort of a random design there. But I kind of, like today, I think I'm going to go with more of a wreath kind of shape. So I'm going to use my Frixion pen to start. And I've got a bit of a circle here. Let's have a look. What size do I want to go with? Let's go with this one. So honestly, have a look at what stencils you've got in your kit. And you just want something circular that's going to fit. Not forgetting we've got 1/4 inch seam allowance either side. All right. So that's that bit. And I'm not going to put any circles in to give me a size or anything. I'm just going to go with it and see where it happens. So starting here, I'm going to come in with a little swirl there. All right. And then put a little bump on it. And then work around a little bit more. And then come back and put another little bump on it. And work my way around. And as I'm going around, I'm going to put these little bumps around the piece. So I'm not trying to sort of keep them symmetrical or anything. I'm just sort of stopping and starting. Great one if you have got a bit of a shaky hand actually, because you can get around this one pretty easy and it doesn't have to be straight or anything. There we go. All right, so I could come and add a little bit more to this if I want to later, but it depends what size you want to do with it. And of course, I've got that 1/4 inch seam allowance I don't want to go beyond. So that's kind of nice. So if I come across and I'm going to put one in here. And again, you see where I'm adding in those little bumps. And it becomes a bit of a flow. You'll draw a bit and then you'll come back on yourself. I've never drawn a swirl though and then gone back and added all the bumps in. You don't quite get the same design and I think you struggle a little bit to get those extra bumps in because you sort of naturally want to draw them a little bit thinner in between each other. So there you go. So we've got opposites. It's going to help me to sort of balance out. Oh, like two little eyes, aren't they? to balance out the shape that I'm creating here. So around we go, and adding these little sort of bumps as we go. So how are we getting on with our tangly flower quilt? Have we all got our fabric now? Are we keeping up? Are we a little bit behind maybe? Or what have you done with yours? Have you done the same designs? Maybe change them up a little bit. Any of that is absolutely fine. And as you know, the quilts on the instructions is William Morris fabrics, and I've not gone with that for the next one. I've gone red, white and black in there. This is sort of opposite. It don't have to be exactly, but now I've got to make a decision. Am I going to go in 2 or I'm going to do 1? And this is where, if you're not sure, that Frixion pen comes in handy, because you can draw the curls in, or you can even split off the space, so you know that you've got enough room to actually do one of these. Or you could do smaller ones and fit more in. But sometimes it's nice to just go with it. And of course, you never always make it the same, or you do it the same the second time, I think. So working our way around. It's a little bit bigger there. All right, like that. So let's look at the next one. Bit of a gap here. So I'm gonna come in and follow those bumps around. Again, if I've not got them quite even, it doesn't matter. It's a little bit of a redesign. Can I just say no dogs were harmed in the making of this video? That's Benji, because John's just pulled up in the drive. Here we go. Around. That's Seth. Oh, good fun, isn't it? It always happens. Always happens. Seth always likes to have the last say, I must admit. And yeah, there we go. Wand around. There we go. So I've not worried too much about size, as I say, whether they're bigger or smaller. So it depends on, what you want to do with it. Of course, I'm going to add some leaves. Just to sort of change it up a little bit. But keep adding in those little bubbles in there. Okay, so we've got sort of a ring of roses. Quick sip of tea. And the leaves that it suggests in here are, let's go a bit bigger so you can see them, sort of little prints, curve either side, little line up the middle. So I'm going to work my way around drawing some of these in. Again, don't try and make them all symmetrical. You don't have to have 2s in every one. You can have 1s or 3s or more, or you can bring one in both sides, or one each side, whatever space you've got. They're quite nice to draw, actually. Let's put one in there. So you just sort of put them around a bit. If you think I'm not quite sure, then put 1 or 2 around, and then have a look at your piece, and then you can see where it needs a few more. There we go. 1 in there. And there. And let's have a look. See, we've got quite a few. This one's a bit more, I would say. Let's put 1 there. And of course, there's nothing stopping you actually putting them on the line itself as well. So if you want to do that, if you've got a bit more space, you can do that and fill it in a little bit. So maybe here. 1 in there. So I've got quite a few now working their way round. So I'm just going to move in a little bit more now, and the little bits of line I've got left, I'm going to draw it in, but I'm also going to add a second line. So it looks a bit more like it's got some substance. And the next one. And again. So just the bits you can see really, it's just about filling it in. And the next one. So it's kind of nice to do these videos because it means that you can see how that particular tangle works in a different way. And it doesn't always have to be exactly what's drawn. I'm going to come in, I'm going to add a couple of these little S's to the frame there as well. I'm going to leave that one, it's quite small, don't have to be on all of them. Okay, let's put one here. So it starts to build up a little bit more interest as we're going round. And then of course coming off of these lines, you can create another little leaf. So they can be inside, they can be outside. Let's have a look. So bring one there. You could change it, you could put little flowers on there if you wanted to, or you could have extra little roses coming off it, all sorts of things. I'll do another one there. Let's have a little look. There you go. So looking at this one here, which is quite a random sort of shape, we've got those in, and this one's very tightly in a circle, but we've gone a little bit more freehand with it and put it into like a little wreath or a design kind of shape there. So that's one way of using it. It's beautiful, isn't it? So let's look at a second way of using it. Let's just move that out of the way for a second. And I'm going to bring in my block here. Okay. Yeah. This is the second version of it. So what else could we do with it? We've done a wreath. We've got this random kind of design. So let's start. I'm not going to do the circles because I'm going to keep it free like this one. So they've sort of match. And I'm going to bring in, let's have a look. So we could do a bunch of them again. Or we could do actually, oh, maybe. What if we did another, what if we did? Let's bring in, yeah, I'm going to use that one. Again, using my Frixion pen. Oh, designs, here we go. And then inside here, I could do one full big size if I want to. But let's come in and do some smaller, just as we did before. You see, I'm swirling and adding those little bubbles at the same time, little blobs on the top of each one. Okay. So I've got a little bit of a restriction there, just a bit of support. But it's entirely up to you what you do with it here. Moving on. So, see, I've sort of doing one and then moving on to the next, but that one looks like it's going underneath that one. Like so. And then maybe start one over here. They don't have to all be in the same place. We can put them all. I'm intending to fill the whole space, so I can sort of move it around and fill the gaps in when I need to. See, they start to grow quite quickly once you get the hang of them. Working my way around. And they can be all different sizes, of course. You can decide what you want to do with it. Follow it round. See how that kind of works along there and along here. Okay, add it to the next one. So it just sort of wanders around. making these little shapes. And of course, as I get further and further and closer to the edge, you have got the decision to make. If you're going to do this design, are you going to go over the line, or are you going to stick within the space and within that shape there? I think I'm going to actually stick within the line. Of course, it's going to iron out after, or you could stitch that in if you wanted to. But we'll wander it round and along. So it's really nice to do this one. It'd be tricky to actually stitch this one, I think. So here I've got to decide, am I going to fill it in? I'm going to actually just fill it with ink there. I think this one is a definite draw it in. Unless you're going to do a really big one. Okay. Again, it's growing really quickly, isn't it? It's not like going to take forever to draw this. I'll turn it round a little bit and do another one. And I'll follow it round as we go. See, that sort of kind of works. And along. Just sort of letting it do its own thing. Stop when you're ready to, and then you can come back in, add in these little lines as you go round. See, it's filling up kind of quick, isn't it, this one? I think you could do just part of it if you wanted. You don't have to do the whole circle if you don't want to. Again, it's wandering around. Again, you start to get a feel for it. I'm just touching the surface of that fabric. I'm not trying to fill it in any way, or I'm not pressing on. It's just sort of going over the top of it, nice and lightly. You don't want to be pushing too hard if you can help it. Another one there. Isn't it crazy? It's a week ago we were at HQ having a class, weren't we? And time goes so fast. End of May already. Crazy, isn't it? Almost in the height of summer. Oh, it's just getting a bit warmer, so we can't complain, can we? There you go. And round it goes, sort of following it on. And of course, just a couple little more of the gaps. Now, there's something to think about with this as well. You've got to remember, if you're going to do something that's the right way up, you are seriously better off doing the blocks on their own first, because then when you stitch them together, you can check it. So I've got a shape here, and I'm going to put something down here. So that's going to make it sort of one way up, unless I wanted to hang it like a bauble, I suppose, but it would look a bit daft that way, wouldn't it? So, okay, put my little bit of a stem in, and I'm going to do the same leaf, but I'm going to make it bigger. And again, I'm going to put that line down. So I'm keeping within the same sort of theme, but I'm changing up the size and the way I actually draw it. And again, I can bring in a couple of those little S shapes. You see, let's go a bit bigger with that. Okay, S shape. And I can bring some smaller ones in. So that one's going to go underneath, look. Oh, along there. And then that gives it a little bit of sort of depth to it as well. So you can sort of see where it's going there. Let's bring one in there. Okay. And of course, once I iron away the friction pen from that shape, it's going to be a circle, but you're not actually going to have the physical line around the outside of it. So that's kind of nice. I like that. But let's have a look. You could actually do it that way around. It's quite nice as well. But definitely not sideways. So I actually quite like it that way. So you've got to really think about when you're putting this together eventually, which way around these go. But something like this, obviously it doesn't matter, does it? It can go anyway. So using exactly the same design, we've got two different creations going on there. And that's from this one here, which is at the top there. So I'm going to tick that one off, just say that we've done it. And I thought we could go back to here, but I'm going to go sort of this way. You can choose and do any you like. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go in with this one and have a go with that. So, okay, here we go again then. I might as well start with a, let's move those out of the way. One of my blocks first. It doesn't really matter. There we are, put that one in place. And let's have a little look a bit closer here. So we've got ourselves a little row of flowers, and here look, it starts with a bubble, and then we've got little loops either side, and then the loops in the middle of that one, and then of course these lovely little loopy kind of leaves going on as well. So let's have a go at that and see what comes of it. So you can draw your stems first if you want to, or you can draw your flowers. It's whatever you'd rather do. I'm going to come in with the bubbles and draw that first. So again, I know I've got to have a base, so that's important. It's got to be one way kind of thing. So let's start with bubbles. Let's put one in there. Now I'm going to go round it a few times. It's always nice to sort of identify the fact where you're going to start. And let's have a look at this. So loops, top and bottom. Now you'd be tempted to draw this one and this one, but I'm going to turn it round and then draw them because I just find it easier, and you're going to get consistency a little bit better if you actually turn it as you're going. Okay, so far so good. Then if I go this way, I can do one this side and one this side. So I'm drawing exactly the same thing every time. I'm just moving my fabric around to allow it to suit there. Okay, let's have a look at that. There's one. So let's put another down here. I can put a few bubbles in. Let's have one up here. Maybe there. I know this might be a little bit scary to start with, but again, you could always do this with your Frixion pen. So that's sort of where I'm going to position my flowers. So if I was to do the same again and start top and bottom, you'd find that you're going to get very similar. So I'm going to turn it ever so slightly because I want my flowers all to sort of be on a slightly different angle. But as before now, same again. Once I've done that first one, I can come in and create these shapes. Just turning my fabric as I go. Real easy, these ones, real easy. Filling gaps in, and you don't have to sort of follow the row. I'm just going where it is. I know I've got those bubbles to fill in, but they do work better if you have this sort of confident pen stroke as you're doing it, rather than sketching it too much. It's nice to have that a little bit of going in. You're seeing each time that I'm turning that fabric a little bit, just so I get all the petals going in a slightly different direction. Don't worry if they're not the same size, it doesn't matter. You sort of get into the flow with these, and you can quite easily sort of develop quite a good amount of them very quickly. Of course, putting a little bit of colour on would go a long way to helping that as well. Have a look. Okay, and then last one. That way. You see, if you find that they get a little bit close, then you just take the petals underneath the one that's in front of it. So if this one was to touch, this petal would be slightly underneath that one. So that would work. Okay. So now I'm going to put a little bit of ground in. And a couple of ways you can do this. You can use a straight edge and draw it in straight. Or what I kind of like to do is, I've got my flowers to the side and I like to work downwards. So a bit of a wavy line. See, that takes all the pressure off it having to be completely straight then. A couple of little extras going on there as well. Oh, Chris, 15 weeks behind, really? Do you know what, actually, if you did one of these every night, it would be about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, the tops for each one. And then they're drawn and you can put them away till the following, and then they build really quickly. So it's something, or even in the morning, as you get up and you're having your breakfast, you can just sketch one in. They honestly, they don't take long. We're on our third one and we're only 26 minutes in. And I'm talking at the same time and explaining things. Here we go, little loops. I think let's put a line in. Loop. A line in. So let's do another. See, this one is definitely going to go behind. But that's okay. If you need to draw it in first, so good example, let's do this one. Use your Frixion pen to draw the whole thing. And then you could come in with your fine liner and draw the bits that you want to keep, and then of course that will iron away. Let's do some on here. There we go. But again, you don't have to do them on all if you don't want to. I think we're gonna get, let's have a look, see, let's do them a little bit lower down. See? And we've got that kind of thing. See, this one, can't really do one there at the front, so I'm just going to stick with that one. And leave it at that, I think. Very easy, very quick to do. So that's quite a nice one. Okay. Trying something a bit different with it. Let's just bring a couple of... Oh, I've got some there already. Again, same sort of design. How are we going to do this? You can decide to do a large one. You can do lots of little ones. We could do a bit of a... Let's do a little bit of a row. Now again, remember you've got seam allowance to think about here. So if you need to draw that in to help you, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to draw myself with my Frixion pen a little bit of a wavy line. Okay, that's going to be the line I work to. Let's put in a second one, quite close to the first. So we've got a bit of a, almost like a little cord running through rather than, or a stem, or whatever we want to think about there, okay? So, bubbles, yeah, I'll start in the middle. I'm going to put a bubble across it. Again, I'm going to redefine it. And then, let's put in some of those petals. Hi, Jane. And that way, so exactly the same flower we just did. Into that one, and that one, and along. Okay, so we've got the same flower. And then I'm going to do one a little bit further up. These would be good to put little gems in and things, wouldn't they? Or you could French knot them. Or these could be chain stitches and things like that. So this is quite a nice one to stitch if that's what you're going to do. You've got options with it. And of course you could go back and look at the other designs. You could have flowers coming in from the corners. You could have a little bouquet with a bow if you wanted to. See, they draw very quickly, so again, it's not going to take you too long to do this. And of course, if you're stuck for ideas, there's an idea in the book you can use, or I'm trying to give you, I am giving you 2 different ideas for each one as well. So you can choose one of those and you can copy that, or sort of start to and then see where it goes. Okay, got that lovely little sort of chain going off there, like that. So this, I think I am going to run it into the seam. So I'm going to go further up because of course then it looks like it's continuing rather than anything else. And let's draw in those extra lines. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to again extend it in. Along we go. Okay. So which way is it going? Does it really matter? Not really. I'm going to come in with some of those loops again. A little line. Again, that's probably just inside the seam allowance. See, it's probably just there. So, being that the whole stem's going inside the seam, one or two of those go in, it doesn't matter so much. And into that one. You see that I kind of I like the flow of that because then I can come straight into the middle. Not everybody does it that way. Sometimes if you want to stop and then go in. But it does give you a real nice, you see, just let the fabric move. Don't try and keep it too straight if it doesn't want to. It's going to have one so it looks like it's going behind those there. Okay. So just as before, we could bring in some of those little S shapes on the bits of stem we can see. Now I know this is not on the other piece, but it's nice to have a little bit extra now and again, isn't it? If we want to. But I'm not going to do... Oh, Sue, yes, you could do it with 30 blocks. That would give you quite a large size. I think you've just got to, you know, when we come to actually putting it together, place your blocks first so you get the right shape that you want. You can do as many as you like. You can make it huge, or you can only do, you can maybe just do 10 if you wanted, or 5 and make a little runner. Or you could even do, I don't know, maybe 4 and do a cushion cover. Honestly, it's entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. And Maureen, I'm actually colouring mine. If I'll show you the ones from last week, see. There you go. See, I've actually used some colour. They need a little bit of water on there just to fix them, because that's the Inktense pencils. But do you know what? I might actually, I'm going to look at a few. I might come back and certainly with something like this one I've done here, put some French knots in. So a bit of colour and maybe a bit of stitching as well as I go on. That would be really nice. Having said that, I can't actually colour anything this week because I've left my Inktense pencils at Sewing Street. So I'll not be colouring anything today. I'm going to put some bubbles in there. I mean, I'm not in a rush to finish this. Of course, we're working to a plan, and I think it's always good to have that and a timeline. So we've got a deadline to finish it, and I think that's really important to do. Keeps you on pace, so then you don't end up being 15 weeks behind, Chris. It's I know we're all busy. I know that. I probably know that more than a lot. Chris, now you could use fine liners to colour. What you've got to remember is you need to check whatever fine liners you use, they're going to be light fast and they're not going to run. My dual brush pens, for example, are water-based. So if you use them, you wouldn't be able to wash it afterwards because they would run. So you need to make sure that you get a permanent. Sharpies might work, but I would try it first. They should do, but again, I would never say go and do it and draw your quilt and then wash it. Test a piece first. Oh, thanks, Jane. Oh, this one. It's my birthstone aquamarine. So, yeah, I do like... I think sometimes we have all this jewellery, don't we? And we keep it safe and look at it in our jewellery boxes. And you think, we should just wear it. Just wear it. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. Okay, so... what have we got to so far? We've created 2 of these designs. So there's one. Have we? Oh, where's my... oh, I've lost my other. Did have it. Oh, there it is. I put it away. So let's have a look at this. Oh, so that would be nice. Yeah, I think putting a bit of embroidery in with it is going to be beautiful and make a change, wouldn't it? So this one and this one. Again, I'm going to iron this bit out because I used my Frixion pen. And there is, so that's like 3 different designs really. This one's very similar to that one, but you can see that it's one wavy line. Yeah, similar, but I've done mine a bit bigger, I think, maybe. And then you've got that one to play with. So let's tick that one off. There we go. And then, of course, using this one here, you could do a random set of it. And that one, beautiful, isn't it? That little ring. So again, I'd put little colours in there using the same. And then of course, mooring, I don't think so. I think they are water-based. Yeah, they are. They are water-based as well, so I wouldn't use those either. I think if you're going to use fine liner kind of thing, Sharpies are your best bet. But honestly, I would just do a test piece on a piece of fabric first. I tend to do is try it on a bit of fabric, put the fabric in a sock and then give it a wash, and then you know you're not going to lose your piece of fabric, and check it. Okay, check the ironing of it as well. And there we go. There's the other one. So I've done sort of almost a topiary kind of design there. And again, I would colour those in. So you've got 3 variations of that one really, and you've got a couple of variations of this one. So honestly, give it a go. If you think, oh, I'm a bit behind, I've got to get them done. As you know, these take 10 minutes kind of thing. Yes, you can use fabric pens. I'm just trying to think where mine are actually. They're upstairs. I'll post a picture of the ones I've got. I've got some fabric pens that work quite well as well. They're quite a fine line. So yeah, I don't have them with me at the minute, but I will photograph them. They're upstairs, and put a picture on in the next 10 minutes. So unfortunately, I can't colour it in today, but you can sort of see where it would be going. I'd have a bit of colour in the middle there, a little bit of green on my leaves, and yeah, have a bit of fun with it. Honestly, 5, 10, let's say 15 minutes a day, and you could be caught up by the next Sunday, couldn't you? Easy as that. So okay, that's our sewing done and sorted. And again, like it's 37 minutes in, we've done 4 designs quite easily. So have a bit of fun with it, and let me know how you're getting on. And of course, any questions, please put it on the page. Please feel free to share this on the Sanntangle group as well. There's lots of people on there that I'm sure would benefit. And of course, you could use some of these, or you could even use the Locket Lane and add a little bit of a house kind of design in there if you wanted to as well. So lots of ideas, lots of things you could do. So okay, for sewing then, I will see you next Sunday, same time, and we'll do another couple. And until then, have fun, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.